Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here alongside Mr. Tyler Keefe. We made it to Thursday.
Yes, we did.
And, I think I spoke a little too early yesterday when I said it seemed like things were calm and there were no issues surrounding the elections.
They're not so calm and issue-free now. It's relatively calm.
Things got crazy last night, though, at the TCF Center in downtown Detroit, as let's just say there was a lot of debate. Republicans felt that they were not being allowed into the center to help challenge some of the votes if they needed to be, and so things got a little rowdy downtown, but luckily there was no violence, no breaking of any glass, no looting, no stealing. However, I did see on social media, it looks like there are going to be a lot of different rallies and protests happening throughout the downtown area today. However, the Secretary of State for the state of Michigan is now saying that all votes have been counted. 5.26 million people here in the state of Michigan had their voices heard by voting. 3.3 million of those votes were absentee. So that was a record number of absentee ballots. So these clerks throughout the entire state did an amazing job of trying to be able to handle so many different variables at this election cycle. And with all the votes counted now, it does look as if Biden has won the state of Michigan, and Peters has been reelected to his second term in the Senate.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the race between Gary Peters and John James was as close as it was. It's about as close of a Senate race or any race really in the state of Michigan that I can remember in my lifetime. Certainly of the last two elections, that was a dead heat pretty much from the start to the finish, and then Joe Biden pulling out the victory with the unofficial results in the state of Michigan. Of course, that's one of those states that has potential to be targeted by the Trump campaign for a lawsuit or a recount should it be able to be done.
Yeah, so this election is not over. There are still some states, Arizona being one of them, still counting the votes, and already, well, it really actually started yesterday morning with President Trump already contesting a lot of the results that have been coming in throughout the state, threatening lawsuits, including here in the state of Michigan. So this is not going to be over. I don't even think it's going to be over by the end of the week. It's going to be interesting to see how things continue to ride out as election day may be over, but it's really turning into an election week, an election month, possibly.
Yeah, it sure looks like that because each of these states is really that are left are really trickling in slowly. Nevada is a key swing state right now that could very well, based on some organizations' reports of the numbers, could decide the election. And Nevada has even said that they're not going to report again until all of their votes have been counted.
We'll see what happens. But I will say, just a reminder to everyone: be kind to one another. Come on, this election has seemed so divisive on so many different levels, but it is over now. The votes, people have had their voices heard. What we really need to do at this point in time is try to get along. I had to get off social media for a while yesterday. It just, holy cow. You have to take a break. I think it's like for your mental health, you have to take a break because people are just very, let's just say, opinionated on what they share. But that's okay. That's the beautiful thing about America and where we live. However, it's the negativity back and forth with others that maybe don't share your same views. And I think that's the sad point in all of this. But hopefully, once things settle down just a little bit, then we can all look to the future and try to unite one another. And remember, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. And with that we are continuing to see cases here in the state of Michigan go crazy. Once again, we set a new daily record of confirmed COVID-19 cases with 4,101 reported Wednesday. Also added 17 new deaths from the coronavirus. The additions bring the state's total number of confirmed cases to just over 192,000 cases, and about 7,400 people have died, according to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Wednesday's numbers shatter the record set Saturday, and that was 3,792 cases. And on Tuesday, the state administered 42,000 tests. So the good thing is we are testing so many more people, and I have not heard about any shortages of any testing kits either. But the positivity rate in the state of Michigan right now is 10.3%. In September, the state's rate averaged about 3%. I believe that they're going to try to move us back down and lock more things up with a positivity rate that high, and we are going into the winter months.
Yeah, I mean, just a few weeks ago when this spike was in its initial portions, we went from right around that 3% mark, which if you're under 3%, you're generally in a low chance of community spread, and you're considered to be containing the virus. And then within a couple of days after the initial spike, the positivity rate was up around 4.5%, and now just a couple of weeks later, we're seeing, as you said, it's now in the right around or in the double digits. So I think it is a much increasing chance each and every day that this positivity rate goes up, that the state's going to have to take some drastic measures, because if the rate of positive tests continues to spike like this, we could be seeing a situation very similar potentially to what we saw early on.
And already we are seeing the impact from the increase through the school districts. Farmington Public Schools are now delaying a return to in-person learning that was to begin Monday, November 9th, as the area experiences the increase in positive cases. Start date for in-person classes for elementary students has been pushed back to at least November 16th. Farmington Board of Education voted unanimously last month to hold off on returning middle and high school students to in-person learning until January 25th. Several other Oakland County school districts, including Huron Valley, West Bloomfield, and Pontiac, also ended or delayed in-person learning after the county's recent reclassification of the coronavirus risk. Like most Oakland County school districts, Farmington began the school year with all students learning remotely, and it looks like more and more schools are continuing to go down that path as the number of cases spike here in the state of Michigan as well as in Oakland County.
Yeah, this list is growing. It started out early on in the week with Huron Valley schools and with West Bloomfield schools, and it's spreading throughout Oakland County and southeastern Michigan as the school districts are preemptively in some cases, and in other situations reactively closing their school districts down, going back to virtual because of the threat of coronavirus, because the positivity rate is so high, because they have positive cases within the school district and don't want to lead themselves into a situation of having outbreaks on their campuses. And so these preemptive measures, much like early on in the pandemic, a little bit of a carrier pigeon for the greater society as the schools are starting to retreat back into a more defensive position against the coronavirus, and society may be very close to doing the same if we aren't able to get a hold of this and contain it.
Well, and one thing for the people that are testing positive right now, there is a trial underway, and you can make some money because they need volunteers. We didn't actually get a chance to talk about this yesterday. So the study has taken place. Volunteers are needed. Doctors are encouraged about how plasma from recovered COVID-19 patients could help others who get the virus. And to learn more, trials are going on across the country, including right here at Wayne State University. So researchers are looking for patients who tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 5 days and have symptoms but aren't sick enough to go to the hospital. They are also looking for people who were maybe exposed over the last 3 days. Participants will get donated plasma, and then doctors will monitor their symptoms. Researchers say they need about 1,100 total participants. And if you are willing to be a participant, you could be paid up to $200. And, so there are some, some details about who could actually qualify for this. And we put a link to that information on our website, civiccentertv.com. Just click on coronavirus and you'll get the link to find out more to see if you can actually qualify for that study, because this is another way for people to be able to help out other people in the community is by being a participant in one of these studies.
Yeah, and we saw earlier on in the pandemic that the donation of convalescent plasma was something that the American Red Cross and hospital organizations were clamoring for in order to do initial studies of this. Now they're months down the line. They know even more about the impact that plasma from COVID-19 positive and COVID-19 recovered patients can have on the treatment of those with severe symptoms. And so ramping those studies up so that in the event that we do have a severe outbreak once again, that you can treat people with severe symptoms with this plasma potentially and have their symptoms be reduced or be much more treatable and maybe not overflow the hospital systems.
This has been a story that we've been following and talking about since the news first came out a couple weeks ago or actually, I guess it's really just been about a week ago, that Michigan's restaurants were going to have to start requesting customers' information. Well, there's a lot of confusion surrounding that order coming out of the state health department. So now the state health department is kind of dialing things back a little bit. So they are now saying that Michigan restaurants and bars, the state health department softened the requirements for collecting customers' names and phone numbers. Under the new guidelines, the state recommends but does not require dining establishments deny entry to customers who won't provide contact information. The state also said it will not hold restaurants or bars responsible for patrons who provide false information and will not require businesses to ask for proof of identification. The clarifications were issued after the state restaurant industry expressed frustration on how to interpret the safety rules announced last week that were intended to slow the spread of COVID-19. A business's failure to ask for customer information is a misdemeanor, carrying up to a 6-month jail sentence and a possibility of a $1,000 fine. So with those consequences for not following the rules, you have to be clear about what you really want people to do. And so you can't just put out a blanket statement without clarification. And there are other issues that they did address. So the restaurants also just need to hold that information for 28 days. And there's still some concern around this, but at least the restaurants are getting some type of clarification.
Yeah, it's good that they are, and it's good, too, that the state has clarified that if people do give out false information, which I've already seen some social media posts about people saying, oh, give the governor's office's phone number instead of your own phone number and stuff like that. So I'm sure that that's something that these kinds of incidents are going on where people are giving false information to these restaurants. So telling them that they're not going to be held accountable for people giving false information as long as they are going about their business properly and trying to get the information, being clear about what information they need, why they need it, how long they're going to keep it, and are doing their part, that the state is not going to hold them liable if people are being irresponsible or are being overly cautious about their information and refuse to give it out or give false info.
Oh, or to kick people out of your establishment.
Right.
We're going into the winter months. They're already under a limited capacity. And then you're telling them to turn customers away on top of that. So this is just offers some clarification for the restaurant owners out there in the state of Michigan, which is good. Still, whether or not people want to give that information, I feel like this kind of takes us back to the mask mandate.
Yeah.
If you have a hostess who's, 16, 17 years old, are they really going to be the front lines and confront some of these customers that don't want to comply? It puts them in such a bad position.
Yeah, and they're not properly trained for situations like that, and you're not going to properly train them in a trial by fire situation where they're in the moment during busy hours, during lunch hours, or dinner hours, or over the weekend, and you have people coming in getting chippy with them because they're being asked to give their information away as is required by law, and these people are not trained in order to properly de-escalate situations if people get chippy with them.
Chippy with them. I don't think I've ever heard that word. So you'll find all that information and more right here on civiccentertv.com up at the top of the page. When you go to the coronavirus page, if you go to the top, there's the state of Michigan, a link, and if you just click right there, and I give you all that new information. So we try to make it easy for you here on the Oakland County Megacast so that you can find the information for yourself and read a little bit more as well. We have a good show ahead for you as we've recovered from our election show yesterday. We had a lot of great speakers on, and we'll try to get some of the other candidates over the next week or so to come on and speak at length as well about their re-election or newly elected positions and what their goals are for our area, because I will say I think one of the great things that's coming out of the coronavirus crisis is that we've all become a lot more aware of how important it is for some of these people in these elected positions and the decisions they make and how it has such a direct impact on our day-to-day lives. I think sometimes we get so focused on the federal level or maybe even the state level, whereas through this crisis, we've learned that right here, the local school board, the local health department, the local county executive, they really have a lot of impact about what is going on in our day-to-day lives. So with that, so a good show coming up for you. We are going to be talking to the Meadow estate out in Rochester. They have some fun things coming up for the holidays because it's like everyone forgets about Thanksgiving. Halloween's over, it's right on to Christmas.
And I don't agree with that. I don't condone that one bit. I think you can switch after the Thanksgiving holiday. Otherwise, it's way too soon. It's way too soon right now.
Everyone forgets about Tom the Turkey. I told you, I'm still going to wear my Thanksgiving, my turkey costume on Thanksgiving.
Good.
Not going to have the 5K. The turkey trot's not happening this year.
Just run a 5K through the streets of Keego Harbor as a turkey on Thanksgiving. I think that your fellow Keego Harbor citizens would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, right. But we will be checking with the Meadow. They have some great things going on to get us into the holiday Christmas spirit. Also, the Village of Rochester Hills. That's one of my favorite places to shop here in the area. So we have those guests coming up in the first hour of the Oakland County Megacast. But right now, Tyler and I are going to take a quick break.
As rivals, we don't always see eye to eye.
Like who scored the best recruits?
Who's gonna be who?
And whether we wear green
or blue.
But one thing we can all agree on to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Wear a mask.
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 The ball's in your court, Michigan.
Michigan, we still need to stay careful because we don't want to go backwards, back to where we started. So keep standing 6 feet apart. Keep wearing a mask in public. And if you have symptoms, talk to a healthcare provider about getting tested. To move forward, let's all do our part. So stay careful. Michigan.gov/coronavirus.
Great to have you with us on the Thursday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in the studio, along with Tyler Keith. As a reminder, you can catch us Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, Civic Center TV, Birmingham Area Municipal Access, Channel 15 on Comcast, Channel 99 on AT&T. If you're out driving around, 89.3 WBLD, Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH, Bloomfield Hills. We're going to kick off today's show Put the election behind you. Just go ahead and forget about it. Time to start focusing on the upcoming holiday. And to get us in the spirit and to talk a little bit more about all the great things going on surrounding the holidays is going to be Shannon O'Berski. She is the Director of External Relations for the Meadowbrook Estate. For those who have never been there, it is one of the most beautiful properties in our area to visit. What would they find surprising about Meadowbrook?
Are you asking? Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, sorry. Yes. So you're asking what they would find surprising about Meadowbrook?
Yes. If someone has never been there before.
I think you touched on it. It's such a beautiful estate. You know, we have over 16 gardens on the property. We have multiple outbuildings as well as the mansion itself, which was the former home of Matilda Dodge Wilson, who was the widow of John Dodge. And she's also the founder of Oakland University, which is where we're located on the campus of. I think they'd be amazed by all of it. It's rather large. We have 110 rooms and we're 88,000 square feet.
I was really surprised to learn that it was $4 million to build, but this was back in 1926. What would that be today?
You know, I don't even know. We get that question a lot. I haven't really done the math for the inflation, but I know it'd be a lot. And part of it too, a lot of the decor and the architecture and the textiles and things in the home, that's sort of a lost art. So some of these things we can't duplicate even if they were able to do them today. So that's something to consider as well.
So it is once you visit, it is a walk back in time and a walk through history. And I always just look at these incredible, buildings, and you think that they built them long before we had computers and the technology that we have today to help us create such amazing facilities. But with that, it is going to be the holidays soon, and it's been a tradition for so many people to go to Meadowbrook to take part in your holiday programming. How are things going to change this year? Because while we are all experiencing a bit of pandemic fatigue, we are still in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis.
Right, so we're changing things up this year. We actually are introducing our brand new outdoor light show. This has been in the works for the last couple of years. It just happened to be quite the perfect timing to be able to offer a safe outdoor experience for visitors during the holiday season, especially amongst this COVID pandemic. It's a nice opportunity to sort of forget about the worries of what's happening and enjoy a safe, fun environment to celebrate the holidays. So like I said, it's brand new, and it's going to be an outdoor interactive light show. So we'll have about nearly half a dozen light displays that'll be placed throughout the grounds. Some will be interactive, some will be choreographed to music, some will be inspired by the house's architecture itself. We'll have bonfires going on in the evening, we'll have concessions. It'll just be a lot of joy and merriment, something nice and relaxing for the holidays. The visitors are also able to walk into the main level of Meadowbrook Hall, which will also be decorated for the holidays, but they're not required. It's an optional part of the tour. People might have concerns about safety and want to remain outside for the entire duration of the event, which is perfectly acceptable. But we also allow folks inside the house with limited capacities as well.
Shannon, and when you say it's interactive, what's that going to be like?
Well, we have a couple of things. So for all the youth tickets that are purchased, we are giving away a pair of free holiday specs. So they're a pair of glasses. They're holiday light glasses that they can put on, and when they look at the lights, they're going to create different shapes. Some could be snowflakes, could be gingerbread man, could be candy canes. So it's just a way for them to be able to look and see something a little bit different. The music, some of the light shows will be choreographed to music, so folks will be able to watch that as it's synchronized to specific songs. We have some images in our rose garden that are going to be projection mapping that'll have movement across to create a 3D effect. So a little bit of everything.
That sounds like so much fun. I've heard of 3D glasses, but never 3D holiday glasses. So they're
pretty fun. Yeah.
Is someone who tries to come up with these different events, What is the brainstorming session like for you and your team to try to come up with different ways to bring new adventures and new products or new experiences to the public?
That's a good question. I think for us, because we are a historic estate and we're always trying to evolve and change and stay relevant to the community around us, because I think it's important that people visit us and are aware of who we are. And in order to do that, we have to change things up a bit. And we have to sort of spoon feed them all these great historic opportunities that are right here in their backyard. So I think when we think about what we can do to share Meadowbrook, we think about what people would want to do, how they would like to experience, and how we can still include some sort of historical aspect. So, it's a process that is teamwork. And like I said, this is a couple years in the making. So this is a really big deal for us. This will be something that we'll be doing annually. And it's, changing what we've been doing for the holidays for years.
Shannon O'Berski with us. She is the Director of External Relations for the Meadowbrook Estate, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast and this new interactive light show that will take people around the historic landmark. It's still going on during a pandemic. Certainly, this won't all be over between November 27th and December 30th when that show is running at the Meadowbrook Estate. How is your team and the team at the Meadowbrook Estate ensuring that this experience will be something that people can interact with and can have fun with, but also do so at a safe distance and with little chance of transmission or lesser chance of transmission of COVID-19?
Sure. Well, we're implementing a lot of different precautions in order to ensure our community's safety. First and foremost, there'll be limited ticket capacities, so there'll be timed entries for every half hour. There'll be a limited amount of guests who can enter at a time. There'll be social distancing while in line for the ticket window as well as concessions. Guests will be required to wear masks while indoors, so that would be in our holiday shop or inside the home while they're touring. We will have health forms that guests will actually have to complete the day of their event, their arrival, just so we can assure that everybody's safe and healthy on the property. We'll be doing the sanitation. We'll be offering masks on site if folks forget them. We'll continue to implement physical distancing throughout. And like I mentioned earlier, if folks choose to come inside the house, we'll be managing that capacities and allowing, it's 10 feet, I guess, between people we're allowing. So we're even expanding upon the 6 feet social distancing requirements so people feel safer.
I know we've had you on the show once before, back when you were first reopening to the public. How has it been going for you and the team over there at Meadowbrook?
It's honestly, it's been challenging. Our tour revenue is down significantly, understandably so. Folks are nervous to go out and about and enjoy activities they used to do. We have limited our hours. We're only open on the weekends right now until the holidays begin. And we are still offering the self-guided tours like we spoke about before, with implementing those same precautions where folks have to wear masks, they have to fill out the health forms, and physical distancing is maintained throughout the tour. So those things are still occurring. We're really hopeful that this outdoor light show will increase traffic and visibility to the hall, and also, give the opportunity for the community to have some fun.
And with that, because you do rely on that revenue, I would imagine you had to throw the budget out the window. And how are you trying to figure out ways to make up that revenue?
As best as we can, frankly. We're self-supporting, so every dollar we make, we are responsible for. Although we are auxiliary of Oakland University, we have to raise every dollar, and it costs about $4 million a year to keep our doors open so that we can operate and preserve the building. And so it has been a challenge, and we're looking at creative and unique ways how to do things. We've had to change our events significantly to still offer them, but within the safety measures. Our museum rental revenue has decreased significantly. And again, in our touring. So we're hopeful that things will turn around. And again, the outdoor light show, quite frankly, couldn't come at a better time. This will be something we hope will really start to turn things around for us, and things will be brighter in the future.
We definitely hope so. And with that, Shannon, too, I know that Meadowbrook has been a very popular place for a lot of fundraisers and weddings. Have you been able to have any of those events on the site this past summer?
We have, but many of the weddings have had to been canceled or moved to a later date or to another calendar year. Some folks we just adjusted based on the capacity limitations that were mandated by the state. And so we've adjusted those. I think at some point we were at only 50 max capacity indoor or outdoors, and so we had to adjust. So we've been working with that day by day, and we've had to make all the changes that we can. But the great thing is that our clients have all been very flexible, and we're trying to continue to move forward.
And knowing that, can people directly donate, or do you really try to just, come up with your revenue through
yes,
different
they
events?
Can.
You're like, no,
they can absolutely donate.
Empty your piggy banks.
Yes, open your piggy banks, your wallets. If you visit meadowbrookhall.org and click on the give button, there's an opportunity there. It says donate now. And of course, any sort of amount matters to us. Every dollar here makes an impact. Everything people can donate helps significantly for us to keep our doors open and to keep operating and sharing our message.
How has it been with you preserving the history within the building? Because, I always, even around this building in the studio, I worry about the equipment or the chemicals that are being used to clean the surfaces. Are you worried, or have you been able to find some types of products that are safe for the historic building, which to use in the historic building that you're in?
Right. So, we've had to do some additional research in regards to how we can sanitize certain surfaces inside the home. Our curator had to do some research on what that would do, how that would work. And so there's certain measures we had to take to assure that the things wouldn't get damaged. Certain surfaces only could have certain type of sanitizers. We had to implement things where folks were in the house. We had them use a paper towel or tissue while walking up the stairs on our handrail, because every time we sanitize or deep clean that wood, it deteriorates the wood even further. So it's definitely had its challenges, but we've been pretty creative and following all the guidelines that we need to.
Shannon O'Berski with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the Director of External Relations for the Meadowbrook Estate. Such an exciting outdoor light show that you have coming up. How can people get tickets, and should they get them now? Are you worried about them selling out at all?
I hope they sell out. Tickets must be purchased in advance. We are not selling tickets on site. Again, because of that timed ticket entry and for capacity purposes. So tickets are now available. They're on sale. You can get them at the website meadowbrookholidays.com to purchase your tickets.
Well, great. Shannon with us here. Anything else that you want to add that maybe we didn't touch on?
I just hope that people get a chance to come out and visit Winter Wonderlights. I think that they'll have a wonderful experience and they won't be disappointed.
It is a little hard right now to get in the spirit of thinking about the holidays because it's 70 this weekend, although we did have snow last weekend, so.
And it'll probably be 40 during the show. You never know.
Right. Because sometimes I think it needs to be a little cold so that you can get the, hot cocoa going. And
I agree. And a little bit of snow. Yeah, just enough snow, hot chocolate to warm you up, a nice bonfire. Absolutely. I agree with you.
And always a little bit of snow on the lights always make them twinkle nicely.
Yes, exactly.
Gotta have the twinkle.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with your event. Holiday lights are always beautiful. It's amazing, some of the displays that people come up with. Do you know how many lights you're going to be using?
I want to say about 500,000 lights this year. That's where we're roughly at. We'll continue to grow the show throughout the years, but this year we're saying it's about 500,000 lights that'll be used in the displays this year.
I can barely get 4 strands of lights on my tree without a headache and a glass of wine because they get tangled, they're not working. So to the staff and your crew that has to install them and put them up, kudos to them.
Absolutely, I agree. It's a lot of work.
When they're done over there, since they're going to be up so early, we'll just, they can come to our house and do ours then.
Perfect, yes, I agree. They can do mine too.
Shannon O'Berski with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Thank you so much again for your time. We appreciate it, and wishing you the best of luck on the event.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So again, the tickets are on sale now. Just go to meadowbrookholidays.com, get your tickets, because my guess, events such as this, it will sell out because, we went to Canterbury Village last week after we had the gentleman on from Canterbury Village for their holiday or their Halloween event. And we were only able to get tickets for that Thursday night because they had already sold out as well. So the good thing, people are anxious to be able to, take advantage of these events that are going on. So hopefully it will sell out for them. Winter Wonder Lights 2021 or 2020. So get out, enjoy the beautiful lights, get in the holiday spirit, enjoy the fresh outdoor air. But get your tickets now if you want to actually see that. Plus, you know what I think is good? You could get them now and make it a holiday ticket for someone.
You could. Good. Be very nice. They can see the twinkle.
The twinkle. Tyler and I are going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, we're going to stay in the city of Rochester, and we're going to talk about some shopping. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Hi, I'm Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Start thinking about the holidays. Before you know it, it will be here. I don't have a countdown.
Neither do I.
But I'm like you, though. I like to wait until after Thanksgiving before I actually start thinking about the holidays. However, right now, so many people have already started their
and those
shopping.
Starting your shopping early is fine. But I was gonna say, if you're like, people have started putting out their decorations already. No. If you've done that already, you need to be committed.
I saw my neighbor, they had their Christmas tree up. Oh. They had their Halloween decorations
and it's going to be up till May, too, isn't it?
And their Christmas tree up on the inside. So for some people, it's their favorite time of the year.
Now, Santa hasn't even started working yet, okay?
But I will say, if you work in the world of retail, you have to start thinking about the holidays much earlier. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast, Kara Engblom. I'm sorry, we're sitting here trying to do like a million different things because I don't pay attention. It's just like that post-election fog. I'm in a post-election fog. But it's great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She is the marketing coordinator over at the Village of Rochester Hills, my absolute favorite place to shop. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
I love the outdoor atmosphere that the Village offers, but when it's like January, February, and 20 below, I would imagine it's kind of hard to attract shoppers to an outdoor mall.
It can be, but it's all weather dependent. And being an outdoor mall, we always attribute to that. So if it's raining one day, we actually have umbrellas available through all of our stores, and they have the Village of Rochester Hills umbrellas. So we do try to accommodate the weather that we do have there.
But you do an amazing job decorating for the holiday season. Have you guys already started putting up your decorations?
Yes, we have actually. So we are still doing our lights throughout the village. So they are going up. They are there as we speak, and then they will be being lit up on the 20th of this month. So we are lighting the village still. Unfortunately, we're unable to do our big event like we normally do, but we are still trying to spread that holiday cheer, and we still will be putting up all of our lights like we do every year.
We all need a little extra holiday cheer this year going into the holiday season because, boy, what a year it's been. And before we talk about some of the events that you are going to be doing out there at the Village of Rochester Hills, how are things going for you? Because not only are we in the middle of a crisis, but you're also competing against online shopping as well, which, brick and mortar stores prior to the pandemic were struggling to survive and compete against Amazon and some of these other big, companies that are delivering. But then once the world shut down, so many people did start ordering online. Have you seen a recovery there with the stores at the Village?
They've been doing pretty well. They have been. So we have been keeping track of their sales and seeing how they are doing. So that is more towards a leasing question. And my leasing agent is not here with me right now, unfortunately. But things are starting to pick up, and we're hoping that they continue to pick up within the holiday season because people will be, out there shopping, especially for the Christmas presents, the holiday presents, things like that. So we hope to see, more pickup within the holiday season, especially being an open air shopping center like we are. We're hoping that attracts more people out there shopping because we're not in an enclosed mall.
Yeah, that's actually a good point and a good marketing point as well to make to the public is that you can be outdoors and not so crowded inside your typical shopping center. So with that, you have some fun things planned for the holiday season to try to get people out there to the Village. Do you want to talk about that?
Correct. We do. So we had to plan it a little bit differently this year. But we still wanted to keep the holiday spirit alive. And since we can't do our big event like the Village because it attracts, quite a few people, we had to make things a little bit different. So we are still having Santa. Santa is still coming. It's going to be done through an online reservation system, which is new to us this year. That goes live for the reservations tomorrow at 7 a.m. The first visit is on Friday, November 20th. So just look for all of this events through our Facebook page and also through our website. We also are doing a lot of strolling carolers throughout the village. We're doing musical performances, hot chocolate, individually wrapped cookies. We're doing sleigh rides also throughout the village to look at our lights, as well as live reindeer as well. They're all spread throughout the holiday season. They're all spread throughout the village. Because we are an open air center, we're able to do more of these things and provide more of these things that are outside, safer, still socially distant, still wearing our masks and still sanitizing as well as people, come throughout the village.
Well, it's great to know that COVID can't stop Santa from appearing.
Right.
With that, what are the hours out there at the village? Have they been steady? And typically when we go into the holiday season, a lot of the stores will extend their hours. Do you anticipate that's going to be happening?
So for us, the mall hours are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., but individual store hours may differ right now. I do know a lot of them are starting to get back to that 9 p.m. Time, especially throughout the holiday season. So I just anticipate the normal 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. As of right now, we're not extending the mall hours through the holiday season, but that can always change if we feel like that we are getting more traffic, and we can always extend, and our retailers can extend as well.
Kara Engblom with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. She's the marketing coordinator for the Village of Rochester Hills. You know, we've talked to a lot of employers and store owners, and some of them are really struggling right now trying to find employees. How are things going with the stores out there at the Village? Do they need employees? Are they doing any type of hiring events for the holiday season? Because I know a lot of college kids will be coming home a bit earlier this year than anticipated, so maybe they're going to need some of those jobs.
So if you look on our website, so it's thevorh.com, we actually have a few retailers that are hiring, that are looking for some people, especially through the holiday season. So there are jobs that are posting there. And I always know that all of our retailers could absolutely use additional employees throughout the holiday season. So I know that they are hiring. They are looking for people. We do have some postings up on our website as well.
Well, the Village is always a great place to shop, because not only do you have Whole Foods there, so you can do your grocery shopping, but then you can always go and do some other shopping as well, maybe pick up a new outfit. When you do have restaurants there at the Village of Rochester as well, how are the restaurants doing right now under some of these new restrictions and guidelines?
So far, they're doing quite well. We were able to do, when the nicer weather, some outdoor seating for some of our restaurants. But I mean, they've been doing well. They really have been, and they've weathered the storm. They have all their processes in place, all their sanitation processes in place as well. And they're still very good about like everything, and the socially distant and the 6 feet apart at every other table. So they really have done very well. And carry out is also another good thing that they have been doing quite well there too.
So we've been very lucky so far this year with amazing weather, other than that little snow shower last Sunday. But going into the winter months, are any of the restaurants that you know of planning to extend like those outdoor seating to have it heated? I know those igloos are really popular right now, or outdoor heating, things of that nature.
So as of right now, there's nothing firm in place with the igloo, but it has been being discussed about getting more of the outdoor, the igloo, the heaters. So hopefully we'll be able to announce when that is available.
In terms of other businesses, Kara, because we've talked to a lot of different chambers and a lot of different retailers and restaurants as well about the need to adjust with the colder months coming up, because these restaurants aren't going to be able to be outside. And we talk about those with the igloos and other potential means. And same with retail, a lot of which have expanded outside the doors of their stores to the outdoors in order to expand the store space and make sure that they can have as many people shopping and buying their products as is possible. How are they preparing to adjust for the winter season? Are they ready for it, or concerned at all that their business could go down once again because of COVID-19 and the cold weather?
So far, I haven't heard any concerns. A lot of our stores are corporate stores out there, so they really have all their processes in place. They've done a phenomenal job, a great job about it. So as of right now, I have not heard any concerns from the actual store managers on our local level from our retailers that we do have out at the Village.
So again, Kara, if people are interested, they're already starting to think about visiting with Santa. I believe what you're doing it this year, it's going to be a sign-up system. How is that going to work, and should they start doing that now?
So the reservations go live tomorrow at 7 a.m. They can go to our website at thevorh.com, and then they will be, you'll be able to clearly see it. It says Santa reservations. You click on it, and then you go and you put your reservation in there. This year it is a woodland theme. It's an open air Santa visit. It is still going to be socially distant. And we do ask that you do wear a mask until you turn around and take a picture with Santa. And then you can remove your mask to smile. And then, but you're still going to be able to sit there and talk to Santa. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to physically sit on his lap. It's going to be still from a 6-foot distance. But it is, it's absolutely stunning. Our Santa, we call it our Santa Snug, and it's absolutely stunning. And yeah, definitely look forward to that. So tomorrow it goes live, 7 a.m. Get your reservations. I'm sure that they will book up quick, and it's all free of charge, actually. So you bring your own camera, and everything is absolutely free of charge. We don't charge for our Santa visits.
Is Santa going to be wearing a mask too?
I believe that he is not going to be, because he's going to be far back enough. It's going to be over 6 feet of a difference, so he's able to sit there and talk to all the children still.
I will say I saw some really cute holiday masks, and they light up. So you know how you have the Christmas sweaters and they can light? Well, now they have holiday masks that light up like that, and it blinks. So I think Santa needs one of those.
I will definitely let him know. I'll make a call to him.
Just a couple more minutes here with you. Of course, we're just having a little bit of fun, you know, because we're all like crazy right now during this COVID crisis. But where does one actually find a live reindeer to come visit the Village? As a marketing coordinator, what is your secret?
Well, you sort of have to know someone. It's a little secret. So it was a friend of a friend who knew someone who did have live reindeer, and they're going to come out with some elves, and you're going to be able to see them and actually pet them as well.
Kara, Engblom with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. A quick question. I haven't been out there in a few months. What is going in at the other anchor store? It was empty for a while. I think it was Carson's before. Is there going to be anything opening in that location?
So Von Mar is going to be coming in there. We do not have an open date for Von Mar as of yet. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, things got a little bit delayed with it, but they still are coming. You'll still see the construction going on down that way as well. So we are excited to have them. Can't wait until they're able to open.
Anything we didn't touch on that you want to get out there to the public to let them know, in case for those that maybe haven't been to the Village or haven't been there in a while?
So we, just always check up on our Facebook events or our website. We always have a lot going on. And then we also have taken extra safety measures and have put hand sanitizing stations all throughout the Village as well as some of the stores have the 6-foot markers outside, just in case they do have a crowd inside. But everybody is there. They're all socially distant. They're all wearing their mask, and it's great to see everybody out and about.
Well, it's been great having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast, Kara. We so appreciate your time, and we will be looking forward to a visit from the Jolly St. Nick himself coming up here as we start to once again think about the holidays. Now that Halloween is over. See, I said Thanksgiving. It's because everyone just forgets about Thanksgiving, especially this year when they're telling us not to, not to really have holiday celebrations. You're not going to the Lions game. You're not doing the parade. So this, let's just forget about Thanksgiving. Skip right to Christmas. Right, Kara?
Hey, I'll still be having Thanksgiving here, but I will admit I did put up some Christmas lights already.
Oh, no.
Early bird. She's the early bird. Yeah. Well, enjoy the Christmas lights. We so appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us. For those that haven't been out to the Village of Rochester Hills, go it's a nice shopping experience, especially with this weekend is going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be 70 this weekend, so it's a great weekend to be able to get outside before the cold weather hits. Go out to the village, check out the stores out there, and continue to support our local community as well. We're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Kara, again, thank you for your time. Still a lot to get to in the second hour of today's edition of the Oakland County Megacast.
I am Dr. Faust, the Medical Director for the Oakland County Health Division. The most important thing you can do to prevent the spread of illness is to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Follow these 6 easy steps every time you wash your hands. Step 1, turn on the sink and wet your hands with warm water. Step 2, apply soap to your hands and lather between your fingers, under your nails, and the front and back of your hands and wrists. Step 3, wash your hands by scrubbing them together for at least 20 seconds. Step 4, rinse your hands with warm, clean water. And step 5, dry your hands with a clean cloth towel, a paper towel, or hot air blow dryer. If you're using a cloth towel, make sure to change it often. For handheld faucets, turn off the water using a paper towel instead of your bare hand. Step 6, if you're using a paper towel, throw it away. Practice healthy habits like washing your hands after coughing or sneezing into them to keep you and others healthy. Go to oakgov.com/health or call Nurse on Call at 1-800-848-5533 to learn more.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Thank you for tuning in to the Oakland County Megacast. The post-election Thursday here. I'm still like in this election fog, but I am so happy it is over.
I'll be happy when it's officially over.
Yes. More than 5 million people did vote here in the state of Michigan.
Lovely.
Having their voices heard, I do think that's one of the great things that is coming out of the crisis, the pandemic, and also the crazy election that we have been through is so many people did exercise their right to vote and have their voices heard. So there's always a silver lining in so many things. Sometimes we just have to find a way and take the time to look at them. And some solitude can do your heart some good. And on Detroit's east side, there is a sacred space I think a lot of people don't realize is there. I passed it one time when I was out working. It's over off of Mount Elliott, and it is a beautiful place for so many people, and that is the Solanus Casey Center. You will know it when you drive in the neighborhood because it stands out as a beacon of hope in the neighborhood. And joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Father David Preuss with us now. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to be with you.
These are tough times for so many people because of the pandemic and the crisis. What advice and how do you nurture people to keep their faith solid during these trying times?
The challenge that many of us have in life is that we can be easily overcome by external circumstances, and that's why we've created this spirituality center to say, unless you possess yourself, what do you possess? So that we find within us a place of inner calm that allows us to deal with all of the stuff that we have to deal with in our lives. So that's really our goal, and we've been here since 1883, and we've evolved. St. Bonaventure's evolved through these many decades to be able to address what the current problems are, and Lord knows that we've got a lot of things to deal with.
And Father, for those that haven't been to the center, what will they see and experience if they do stop by?
Well, we spent a lot of time thinking about what we wanted to do here, and it really came from our desire to be able to have some kind of place to visit the tomb of Solanus Casey, a holy man. Many people wanted to honor him, but we wanted it to be more than just a shrine. We wanted this to be a place of spiritual journey, so that you come in through a creation garden of St. Francis of Assisi. We are followers of his. Capuchins are an offshoot of the Franciscan community, and that we reflect on our place on earth, with the sun, with the moon. And then as we come into the building, that through Christ we enter into this journey and see some of the contemporaries of our time and their spiritual journey, whether that be Mother Teresa of Calcutta or Martin Luther King Jr., that then seeing that we are on this journey, reflect a little bit on Solanus and his message, and the real story that he is someone who allows us to reflect that greatness is not necessarily in wealth or position. He was the receptionist here. He had no special title, he had no special place, no special power, but he did touch people's lives very effectively. And that's a reminder to us that we're all called to a greatness, and it might not be that we're elected to office or that we have buildings named after it. It might not be any of this stuff, but it is that we relate to each other in ways that are respectful and caring.
Father, for those visiting the center, how is that working right now in the middle of a pandemic when we're supposed to be socially distanced from one another? Because when it comes to faith, we like to be together.
That is a challenge for us as well as for everybody else, that in terms of our services, we follow the protocols of the Archdiocese of Detroit. We are at only a percentage of capacity. We have in our chairs marked off where you can sit. We probably do better than 90% of the church-related things because we're not just here for Mass and for services. We're here to be an oasis, a place of reflection. And because of that, it's a pretty large building. We ask that you have masks, but there's lots of space When people come into chapel, even if there's 20 people in chapel, there's plenty of space. So it has not been really problematic. We did have initial problems. We had people who were sick in the community, and we shut down for a couple of weeks. We went through our protocols, and we've been fine since. So we went through initial difficulties. We saw what we needed to do. We reacted to that, and we have been pretty safe. And the latest statistics this week is that the city of Detroit has one of the lowest incidences of COVID of any place in the state. So people have been following, and because of that, our rates have been slow, very low, and none here at the center.
Father, are you still offering the blessing of the sick service at this time?
The blessing of the sick was where we drew the most people on Wednesdays and a smaller one on Sundays. That is the one thing that we thought about for a long time. How can we do this? And we really couldn't come up with a good answer to that. So we don't want to have 300 sick people in a small room. So what we've done is we've told people, we'll put one of the friars on the floor. As people come in, they can ask individually for a blessing. So we're individually praying with people as they come in, and that's worked well. We bless them with the relic of the cross. We pray with them individually. We get to talk to them too and say, you know, you're coming here for prayer. Who are you praying for today? You know, is it for yourself? Is it for a loved one? And this has been, it's been good. And because we do this, we're open 9 to 5, 7 days a week. And because we have so many different hours, it allows us to spend a little bit more time with people individually to pray with them. So get more personal attention now than what you did in the past.
Father David Preuss with us. He's the director of the Solanus Casey Center, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. And Father Preuss, this is a place that people go to find to reconnect with their spirituality, to find some sort of solace in the chaos of the world around us through their faith. Is this a place that invites people of all different faiths in for that experience, or is this specific to those that do follow the religious practices within the Archdiocese of Detroit?
The last month there were 7,000 people that came through, and I continue to be amazed at the breadth and diversity of people that come through our doors. Majority from Macomb and Oakland and Wayne counties, but we get people from around the world, around the country, and a diversity. Had a very nice conversation with a Buddhist the other day who came in and talked about her understanding of the Bible. And so we have Muslims that come through. So we have a variety, of course, the whole variety of Protestant denominations. So this has been good because this really is a place where we just don't preach at you, but we give the opportunity for you to reflect and to come in touch with the power of God. And that really, we didn't think this up. This is really continuing the kind of outreach that Solanus Casey had. People came here for decades with problems, and they'd ask that he listen and pray with them. And so that's what we continue to do. And because everybody's got problems, so, and we all need a listening ear, and we all need prayer. So we're able to reach out to a wide variety of people.
And Father, with that, are you seeing new people come to try to make sense of this crazy world that we're living in right now and seeking comfort and solace that maybe wouldn't have done that if we weren't in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis?
I think whenever our world is turned upside down, it gives us an opportunity to rethink what we're doing, where we come from, where we want to go. And it really calls us to expand our humanity, to be able to understand ourselves better and also to understand some of the challenges that people around us have, and to be able to reach out to people with compassion. And one of the things that we have is between us, there's this symbiotic relationship between the center, which is reflective, and across the street, the Caption Soup Kitchen, where we do direct service for the poor. And to realize that what goes on in our minds needs to go into our spirits, and then our hands need to be at work. So that these things are not just something that's in our head, but that we come to be of service. And that is what God calls us to. God calls us to use our capabilities, our minds, our reflective abilities, our praise of Him, our thanksgiving, and our being able to reach out to our brothers and sisters around us locally, and that we're also aware of people around the world. And that's we're reminded of that here because one of the things that was beneficial from this lockdown is that then we went online. So here we are on TV. And so we do every morning our morning mass, and we do our blessing of the sick. We have our wonderful IT people and our videographers that come and share us with people throughout the world. And so before, I might have 25 people in church for Mass in the morning. Now I have 1,000 people, and some of them are in New Zealand or in the Philippines, or, that we have become open to all the world. So an unexpected blessing from all of this.
And do you think you'll continue that post-pandemic?
As I like to say, people vote with their feet, or in this case, with their fingers. As long as our numbers stay up, we'll continue to do it. I believe that we probably will, because one of the things that we uncovered is that there's a lot of former Michiganders who are now spread throughout the country, who have connection here, who love Solanus, who maybe had an uncle or a relative that was cured here. And so they're very happy to be able to connect with us online.
So, Father, I know that the center is a very spacious center and you have a lot of space there, but with you just being open 9 to 5, do people need to make appointments to come, or are you limiting how many people enter the center at any given time?
That's never been a problem. We monitored that, and initially for the Sunday Mass, we took reservations, but we've never met our maximum number yet. It is large space, and because of that, we haven't had a problem. And because we have long hours and it's 7 days a week, I think if it was 1 or 2 or 3 services a week, we might be problematic, but it hasn't been problematic.
For those who maybe have never visited the center, they're on the east side of Detroit and they want to learn more, how can they do that?
Maybe you want to look online at Solanus Casey Center. Look that up. You can find out what we have, what services we have. Can shop online at our gift shop. So if not, but anyway, you can come down. We're just a couple blocks off of Jefferson. So we're at Mount Elliott and Kercheval. And so it's relatively easy to get here.
And lastly,
although I'd warn people, the Mount Elliott exit is closed presently, so you can't get off of 94 at Mount Elliott. You'll need to get off at Van Dyke, or come in on 375 and get off at Lafayette and come up Lafayette to Mount Elliott.
Father, quickly before we let you go, any advice that you want to give to our listeners and viewers out there who continue to struggle with isolation or just those feelings of being alone as this COVID-19 crisis wears on?
I am very much aware that this is a problem, and I have an older brother that's in a nursing home and is just really struggling emotionally because of the isolation. Use your telephone, use, Zoom, use whatever that you can so that you keep some kind of conversation going. And I think for your viewers, think of those who are isolated and reach out to them. You might not be able to visit them, but talk to them. It really becomes problematic when we feel that no one cares. And with some of the people that I know, they have trouble calling out. They may not be able to do that easily. So get in contact with someone. Give them some encouragement, say a prayer with them. I think we're called to express our humanity in new ways during this crisis.
Well, Father, we so appreciate having you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Thank you for your time. And again, the center is open 9 to 5, 7 days a week. It is on Mount Elliott on Detroit's east side. Tyler and I are going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. And when we come back, a first-time guest for us here, Tyler, on the show. We are going to have the Executive Fire Commissioner for the Detroit Fire Department, Eric Jones, joining us on the Megacast.
Michigan, we're calling on you to save lives. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go to voicemail. It's urgent. In fact, it's critical. Because if you've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, you may have been exposed to the virus. And you could get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department. So please answer the call to learn how to protect yourself, your family, and friends. We're calling on you to stop the spread of COVID-19, to make it safe to reopen businesses and help Michigan move forward. So if you get a call from My COVID Help or your local health department, you may have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. To protect us all, answer the call. Learn more at michigan.gov/containcovid. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Caldoun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The people who are at highest risk of getting severely ill from COVID-19 are the elderly and those with chronic medical conditions. That includes people with heart disease, diabetes, COPD, or those who have compromised immune systems. People who are in those categories should right now be staying at home as much as possible and not going out if it is not essential. If you fit into one of those categories, those are the things you should do. And if you have a family member who fits into one of those categories, you should be checking in on them and making sure they are following those guidelines. There's something everyone can do to protect the community from COVID-19.
We are in the middle of a pandemic, and while so many of us have had to be changing the way that we live our lives and the way we work, so many people working remotely, our students, our kids are learning remotely now as well. However, if you are on the front lines of this crisis, you don't have that opportunity. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter if you call, the men and women of the Detroit Fire Department will respond. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Eric Jones, the Executive Fire Commissioner for the Detroit Fire Department. Commissioner, thank you so much for being with us.
Hello, Ronnie. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good. So bring us up to date. We've never had you on the show yet, so it's great to have you on here with us on the Oakland County Megacast. How are the men and women of DFD doing right now?
They're doing wonderful. They come in every day to save lives and save property. They haven't missed a beat from the beginning of the pandemic. They've been on the front line serving, never wavering.
I know in the beginning, Detroit was one of the hardest hit cities, not only in the state, but across the country as well. We've lost a lot of good people in the city of Detroit due to this virus, but it does seem as things are starting to calm down a bit. Can you talk about how you responded to the crisis in the beginning and where things are now?
Yes. So in the beginning, we were actually the tip of the spear for the city of Detroit. Our safety protocols, our job aids, our use of personal protection, it wasn't something that was new to us. Our medics and our firefighters that respond to medical runs, they've always worn the N95 mask, the gloves. So when the pandemic happened, we were able to help other departments with the use of PPE, the use of protocols. We even put together a team of EMS supervisors who went around the city for city employees to do patient assessments to determine whether or not the city employees should go to the clinic, to the hospital, or just be sent home for the day. So we were at the tip of the spear, and we remain at the tip of the spear for this pandemic.
And with that, how has it been for your department now in the ability to get PPE? Are you well stocked as we're looking like we're about to go into a second wave here?
Absolutely. We're well stocked. In fact, so every Monday at 10 o'clock, I have my operations meetings with my division heads, and we went over our inventory, and we are well stocked. In fact, we're in a better position. Before, we were rotating and going through our N95 masks, but we actually purchased some new devices for the firefighters and the medics, filters for their masks, so that we don't have to encroach upon our inventory of N95 masks as much.
How has this been on the EMS side of the house? In the beginning, I would imagine extremely stressful, because how many calls are you responding to daily on the medical side?
So we average about 350 a day. At the height of the pandemic, it was upwards of 450. The runs have leveled out. And just by way of reference, the national average for EMS response time is 8 minutes. So for the past 8 or 2 months, we've been under the 8-minute national average. So they're doing a phenomenal job.
Eric Jones joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. He is the Executive Fire Commissioner of the Detroit Fire Department. And Eric, as departments went into the first wave of the pandemic, they had to put together a lot of plans pretty quickly to be able to mitigate the pandemic but still provide the same similar services. With this second wave we have, at least in the initial portions, potentially on its way, how is your department preparing for that, given the circumstances that we're under now versus in March of this year?
So we're a learning organization. We learned a lot during the first wave of the pandemic, and we put in place some policies just in case a mass amount of our members were infected with the virus. And we have extra equipment. We have additional overtime rosters put in place. We have additional surpluses of equipment put in place. We have additional apparatus and vehicles put in place. So we are well positioned to handle the service calls that might arise because of a impending second wave of the pandemic, COVID virus.
So I have to ask, I've been in the firehouses. How do you keep firefighters socially distanced, or even medics for that matter, because they're in the rigs together, they're living together 24/7. It's got to be hard to say, hey, you have to be socially distanced when you're eating at the dinner table together, or is it basically like schools are doing now where they have cohorts per se?
So what we're doing now is our members wear a surgical mask when they're in the fire stations. They have a large supply. Our supply is pretty robust of the surgical masks, so they can rotate them out. Obviously, at the beginning of their tour of duty, we have protocols in place where they check their temperature. If anybody is exhibiting any signs or symptoms of the virus, then we send that person home. But you're right, the ambulances are partnered up to medics, and the fire crews have 4 individuals on them. So they have to work together. They just have to protect themselves. They have to protect each other. They're feeling sick. We have a policy where if you feel sick or exhibiting any of those signs, don't come to work. If you do come to work and you start exhibiting those signs, then we get you treatment and send you home until you feel better.
Yeah, what's so hard about this is a lot of times people may be sick and they don't know they're sick. They're asymptomatic. And so it's this whole pandemic has been crazy for everyone trying to navigate this. So I can't imagine being in your seat and trying to do that as well, especially when in the beginning testing was hard to get. So people were being knocked out. Like if you had to quarantine an entire, engine house, what are the plans and the protocols to try to address that, to make sure there is staffing?
So as I stated earlier, we're a learning organization, and one of the things we do right now is surveillance testing. So our department is approximately 1,200 members, and every week we randomly test about 100 members. So while we don't know, because some individuals are asymptomatic, we have been able to identify individuals who are asymptomatic and positive. And then we go back and do the contact tracing with the individuals that person was around or working with over a certain period of time. We test those individuals. Therefore, we're better prepared. There are no surprises where we're having to put out entire companies of firefighters because of an exposure that we weren't aware or that snuck up on us. We're being more proactive this time.
But that's good. And it's like you said, this has been a learning experience for everyone, every department, every business, every entity. I'm wondering about how are things going in the city of Detroit, because with the shifting demographics of how people are working now, the downtown office buildings aren't as packed as what they once were, but then you probably still have people out in the neighborhoods that would maybe go to work who are now home. So has that changed where you're responding as far as either medical or from a fire standpoint?
So fires are down and the medical runs are down right now. Last year around this time, we were at 2,100 building fires. This year we're at 1,900, and our medical runs have dropped from at the height of the pandemic, 450, 500 a day down to 300 to 350. So things have leveled out, and the response time for our firefighters, for the past 2 weeks, if you call 911 because of a fire, our guys are getting there in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It's completely amazing. Yeah,
and I wonder too, people before, they there were some people that would use 911 and the EMS service as basically a taxi to get to the hospital when they didn't need to. And so a lot of times that did hurt the response times, because some people that didn't necessarily need an ambulance were relying on the ambulance to get them where they needed to go, or to, to a hospital or a situation like that. So with the fear of COVID, did that help contribute to the fewer calls, do you think?
That helped contribute. People don't want to go to the hospital. When you go there, you can't have a family member come sit in the emergency room with you. It's just a really difficult process. The other thing that we've done is we've expanded our technology. So we're using for our EMS telehealth, where we're treating the patients with some of our new EKGs, calling the physician right on the phone and making a determination as to whether or not this person should or should not be transported. So there are various things that are contributing to the reduction in our medical runs at this time.
Eric Jones with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He's the Executive Fire Commissioner for the Detroit Fire Department. Do you think that's going to stick around? The telehealth aspect will stick around post-pandemic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no turning back. It's making us more efficient, giving us a greater and a better ability to communicate with the hospitals. So I do believe that it's going to stick around and expand.
One thing this has taught us is, like, you can't do things the way you used to do it. So before, I can imagine if you had the conversation, hey, we're going to start using telehealth, people would have been like, no way, it's not going to happen. But now we're being forced to do things in a new way, in a different way. And I think there's going to be some benefits coming out of it in the long run. Any other benefits that you think will stick around post-crisis?
I think it's making people be more conscious of when they actually call 911. You alluded to the fact earlier many times we would get a call and we would pull up and a citizen would be standing outside with their suitcase. And, we're not Uber, we're not a taxi cab, we care about you, but we are an emergency services provider. And when we are responding, we're there to save a life, not to be a cab service. So I think it's raising the conscious level of individuals as to why they call 911.
As far as looking at this crisis long term, how do you think that's going to impact the staffing levels, or just the interest from people in the public wanting to go in to the fire industry, or for that side, even the EMS side as well? Do you think more people are attracted to the field now because they see that they can really help directly on the front lines, or do you think it's distracting because people don't want to be on the front lines?
No, I think Americans want to help. I mean, when you look back at World War II, and they were called the greatest generation, and everybody stepped up to serve. It's the same thing is happening right now. We're not having any problems with retention or hiring. We have a class of 22 firefighters right now. We just graduated a class of 9 EMTs and paramedics. We had to change some of our protocols with our academy. The practical aspects, they show up and train physically distancing, but most of it is done virtually online. But we haven't seen any impact. I believe it's going to be a greater interest as we move forward through this time period.
That's got to be weird to try to, practice CPR on a dummy virtually. With that, if people are thinking about joining the DFD ranks, it's one of the highly sought after fire departments to be able to join. How can they get that information? Do you have an upcoming class at all?
Yes, we've already established a list for the class that's going to be upcoming in the first part of 2021. After that, I believe that the list has been exhausted, but they can go to the city of Detroit, detroitmi.gov, and click on the fire department and walk through the hiring and recruiting process. So
Detroit's just getting out of bankruptcy, surviving bankruptcy. The financial status was getting kind of back on track. We were seeing Detroit was the comeback city. Businesses were opening, people were moving into the city, and now we're in a crisis and everything shuts down. How worried are you about the impact of COVID-19 and the pandemic on your budget?
Obviously, I'm concerned. I mean, when there are no revenues coming in and businesses are being forced to alter their practices, then yes, we do have some reductions in revenue upcoming. But at this time, our department has the equipment we need. We have the technology we need. We have the ability to train like we need. And I don't expect that to change. I just expect that we have to be better stewards of the budget. And that's been my main goal since I've been here. If we can control this budget and do it professionally, make sure that we are doing all the things that should be done as it relates to counting the dollars, then we'll continue to be able to provide high-level service to the citizens of Detroit and the visitors of Detroit.
Eric Jones with us, Executive Fire Commissioner at the Detroit Fire Department, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Eric, beyond COVID-19 and budget issues, there are far more problems that are commonly dealt with by the fire department on a daily basis in Detroit and other fire departments locally. What are some of the more common problems that we see this time of the year that your department suggests to residents of Detroit or even those in other areas, as these are common issues that may cause hazards in the home or may require the services of the fire department on an emergency basis, and how can people prevent those issues from becoming problems that would require emergency help?
Yeah, so the weather is getting cold, so you have people bringing in artificial heating devices that should only be used outdoors. People should change the batteries in their smoke detectors. The holidays are coming around. People should not drink and drive. We've had some horrific accidents, some fires that were completely preventable. So those are the hazards that you start to see. The temperature drops. There are a lot of celebrations because of the holidays, a lot of drinking and driving, and those are the things that we want to prevent. Make sure that you're safe in the home and that you're safe on the road.
So Eric, I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit.
Okay.
You're like, oh, I'm nervous. So for those that don't know, you were actually with the Detroit Police Department for well over 20 years. And then you made the switch over to the fire department. Between the two of us, which do you like better?
Well, let me put it this way. So I served for 25 years at the Detroit Police Department. My son is a Detroit firefighter. My wife is a sergeant at homicide and DPD. I bleed blue. I love both. I am a first responder, a public servant, and I love public safety.
You got a little nervous there for a second, didn't you?
Tad bit. Just a little.
Come on, I wouldn't do that to you. Eric Jones with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Before we let you go, though, I will say, if we had an award to give out for the coolest backdrop, I know it's virtual, you would definitely get one because that's an awesome scene behind you there.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. After putting me on the spot, thanks for the compliment.
Eric Jones with us on the Oakland County Megacast. I will say, anyone who is interested in join the ranks of the Detroit Fire Department, all across the country, it doesn't matter where you go, people talk about the Detroit Fire Department, the work that they do each and every day. They are very well respected. People come from all the other area fire departments. They work hard to try to get onto DFD, and a lot of good things have been happening since Eric took over running the department just a few years ago. So check them out, but also want to let people know Detroit Police Department is also hiring. So if you want to serve the community, look to the city of Detroit. They can use a lot of good men and women to join their teams, not only on the police department, the fire department, but as well as for the first responders and the medics as well. So we're going to take a quick break here on the Oakland County Megacast. Thank you to Eric Jones for being with us, and then we'll round out the show speaking with the Chamber of Commerce in the city of Rochester. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
This may seem uncomfortable, but so is being hooked to an IV. sleeping in a hospital bed, and fighting for your life. When it comes to COVID-19, comfort is not as important as saving lives. Wearing a mask can greatly reduce the chance of spreading the virus. So mask up, Michigan, every time you leave home.
Hi, my name is Kurt Lawson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township. We wanted to reach out to you, our older adults, to provide information that you may find useful during this difficult time. We want to ensure you that West Bloomfield Town Hall, our Waters and Utility Department, West Bloomfield Parks, and our police and fire departments continue to work hard on your behalf. Information and resources can be found on the Township website, the police Facebook and Twitter, or call West Bloomfield Park's COVID-19 Help Hotline. Please remember to keep your social distance of at least 6 feet, wear facial coverings when you leave your home, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with soap. These precautions will help keep you safe during these difficult times.
Great to have you with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. Great conversation with Eric Jones.
Yes.
So I was telling Tyler a little bit earlier, I've known Eric since he was a lieutenant with the police department. We met out on a very sad story. A little girl was shot trying to protect her mother. And that's when I first met Eric Jones, and then he rose through the ranks over at the Detroit Police Department before then leaving, retiring from there, and going over to the fire department. So a lot of people have been happy to have him lead the way over there. He's been there for 5 years, which says something, because prior to Eric taking over the department, they had been through quite a few commissioners in just a few years. So the men and women of DFD definitely been through some tough times over there. It looks like things are getting much better. Just about 20 minutes left here in the show, and we want to go ahead and head back to the city of Rochester, one of those great little communities here in our own backyard. We spoke earlier with the marketing director over at the Village of Rochester Hills, which is a great shopping area. But let's check in now with the president of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, Elena Campbell, joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
How are things looking business-wise there in the city of Rochester?
Well, our chamber represents actually Rochester, Rochester Hills, and Oakland Township. So we have almost 800 members from those three communities, plus the surrounding area. As you know, any business can join any chamber of commerce. I think our businesses are cautious right now. As we know, the numbers are going up again for the positive cases of COVID-19. And a lot of our businesses are reviewing their PRP plans, their preparedness response plans, making sure that those are shored up and they know exactly what to do in the event that someone comes down with symptoms. So we've really been working a lot with our businesses, helping to educate them and keep them up to date on what are the protocols that need to be followed. So they're cautious, but excited as well for the Christmas season that's coming and preparing as best they can to serve their customers and clients during that season.
There have been so many different phases to this crisis, and it swings up, it swings back, it swings up. I feel like we got through that first wave, and now things are kind of getting a new rhythm. But with the increase of cases, are some of the businesses worried that the city and or the state may start shutting things down again? And could they survive another shutdown?
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of talk about what is going to happen because the cases are going up. Will there be another shutdown? And I'll be honest, there's grave concern by a lot of our businesses, particularly those that have been hardest hit, which of course is our restaurants, our hospitality industry, our entertainment venues, our music venues, our theaters. They were shut down for months. Restaurants were allowed to open up, of course, earlier than our entertainment venues and music venues were, but at 50% capacity. And that was okay in the summer because everyone quickly expanded outside. And many of our municipalities were so amazing at immediately addressing the needs so that the businesses could expand outside, so that our restaurants could have seating out on the sidewalks and in different places. But we all know this is Michigan and winter is coming. And that's not, this week has been beautiful, but we know that's going to change very quickly. And that outside seating is not going to be as available or available at all. We know restaurants that are scrambling to find tents, which then they're dealing with the permitting process within their city or their municipality, perhaps, on what are the specs of that tent and where can they put it, and what are the rules going to be with the fire marshal, because they want to ensure safety, of course, for all of their staff and their clients. So they're scrambling to figure out how they can maintain some of that additional seating to get through this winter. But we know there are going to be businesses that are not going to survive if there's another shutdown.
Well, one thing that has been a lifeline for a lot of these businesses has been the chamber, and you and people on your team trying to stay on top of the different loans and grants and programs that are actually available out there. How are you able to navigate the changing tide in that world as well?
Well, with lots of help from some great elected officials that we have. So as soon as, the shutdown started in March, right away we began doing weekly calls that were available to our members, via Zoom, like everybody else, but with all of our elected officials. So everybody from our DDA director in Rochester to our mayors, to our state representative, to our state senator, all the way to our congresswoman, and then our U.S. senator. We had them on a call every single week, updating us and our members on what was going on. What's the current situation with COVID-19? What is the current legislation that was winding its way through both the state and federal level to get assistance out quickly to our businesses so they could survive? Last week, we just did a call with the SBA's Region 5 administrator, Rob Scott. We made it available to the entire Oakland County Chamber network, where he updated us on what he knows at the federal level and some legislation that prior to the election was being worked on. It got stalled a little bit because of the election, and hopefully we're going to resolve the issue of this election, and they can get back to work and get this legislation moving again. But it has been honestly a roller coaster, as you know, as it has been for so many, trying to navigate daily, sometimes changes, not only in COVID numbers and the response, but also in resources as they become available for our members. And then helping our businesses. What was absolutely critical to us as well was ensuring that our businesses, our members, had accurate information. Accurate. We all know there was a lot of stuff, there's a lot of stuff on social media and even, all the media outlets, right? Speculation and rumor and what have you. And the thing that was really critical for us was making sure we were getting the correct information into our businesses' hands, because They wanted to know the correct information. They wanted to follow the proper protocols. They wanted to reopen safely. They wanted to have a PRP plan, a preparedness response plan. They wanted to do the right thing. But it's been so difficult navigating. Where do I find the correct information?
And you had mentioned briefly about the election. So much of what you and your team does is based on relationships. And it takes a while to build those relationships. And now here we just had an election. Some of those positions are going to change. Their staffers change. Are you concerned that that could put you back a few steps in trying to get some of this information and help that you need, because you have to learn those new relationships, but also those newly elected leaders have to learn their role as well?
That's very true. And speaking of relationships, I'm glad you brought that up. And that's one of the things, of course, that why a lot of businesses join a chamber, right? Is so that they can network with other businesses, they can network with their leaders, they can build those relationships. We have great relationships with our elected officials all the way up the line. And it was so critical when COVID hit that we had those relationships, because we knew who to call. We knew who to call to get information, to get help for our businesses. And we pride ourselves. We are a nonpartisan Chamber of Commerce. We don't endorse political candidates. Whoever gets elected, that's who we're going to work with. Our job is obviously to help our businesses, to advocate on behalf of our businesses. And we will, work with whomever is in the office at the time. And we have been fortunate. I feel like we have amazing leaders, elected officials here in our community. They have been so beneficial to us during this time. So everything from our like I said, our local mayors, to our state representative, to our U.S. senator, all the way up, they've been phenomenal in helping businesses as quickly as they could.
Elena Campbell with us. She is the president of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, joining us today on the program. And on the topic of relationships, Elena, you said that the chamber has over 800 members, a variety of different businesses from many different municipalities in the Rochester area and in the local area. How important during this pandemic, and even before and after this pandemic, are relationships between those businesses to be able to collaborate, share ideas on how to navigate this, or even work together to improve sales and relationships in the community?
Right, absolutely critical. We saw right away, it became evident right away, those businesses that already had strong established relationships within the community and the B2B relationships, the business to business relationships, they instantly knew who to call and what to do, and had help in pivoting their businesses. There were a lot of businesses, not a lot, but there are some businesses, right, that have never connected. They haven't connected with their local chamber. They didn't connect with maybe their statewide association, maybe their restaurant association or their industry association. And we held the hand of a lot of businesses like that through reaching out. Immediately, we started calling all of our members. We made about 600 personal phone calls to members within the first month, offering them assistance. And then we would hear about their neighboring businesses who needed help. So we'd reach out to them. I did personal Zoom calls with businesses, helping them learn about the SBA EIDL loan and the PPP program, and holding their hand to apply for those programs, because they were scared. A lot of them, to apply for a government program. But those relationships have been absolutely critical. And it's interesting because one of the things that happened, we went into the shutdown and we were all working remotely, right, for a couple of months. Chambers do networking events on a regular basis so that our members can build these relationships. And our members started clamoring, right, for events again, for their networking events. They were missing seeing people, and they were missing, the opportunity to build those relationships. And so we pivoted and started, did some of them via Zoom. And then when we were, when it was safe and we were allowed to, we started doing them outside here in the community. And it was so funny because our members were missing those opportunities to convene and network and build relationships. So we're cautiously getting back into doing some of that, and of course following all the rules and the protocols and things like that. So
just a couple more minutes here with you on the Oakland County Megacast. We like to look at things with a silver lining as well, though. So it's not all, gloom and doom, even though we're still in the middle of this crisis and we all thought it would be over by now. It's not over. It is going to be going on through the winter months. But what do you think has been one positive thing that has come out of this for the Chamber and some of your members that has really been a benefit and will stick around long after this crisis is over?
Right. You know what, Ronnie, I'm so glad you asked that, because we talk about that daily here in the office about the silver linings. And there are silver linings. And it's so important to see those. We cannot stay stuck in the past. Things have changed, and we know that a lot of things have changed permanently. One of the big things, of course, that came out of this, I think for a lot of businesses and for our organization as well, is the ability to quickly pivot to online platforms. So really looking at your presence online, what is it? Utilizing social media to your advantage, e-commerce. Our chamber is actually did a 3-year strategic plan in August. We redid our entire strategic plan because of what was going on, and realizing that the next 18 months are going to be critical for our businesses and that we need to be there to help them navigate through this. And so we're going to be launching in January something we're calling Chamber 2.0. We realize we can work remotely ourselves. We have an office with empty space in it now. We're going to be renovating our office so that our members can use it. And they can have access to what we're calling a smart office, where they can come in and they can use our space to do a hybrid meeting. So where maybe they have some people in person, some people via Zoom participating in a meeting together, where they can shoot video and put together webinars. We're going to help them put together webinars to help them become subject matter experts. And then that will then help our other members who need their subject matter expertise. And we're going to have this whole entire brand new online platform of content and assistance that's available for our members. And we're going to be helping them do that for their business as well. We all know the internet's not going anywhere. It's just growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've got to help our businesses become part of those online platforms.
Yeah, I think we should hire a bunch of 12, 13, and 14-year-olds to help us navigate this crazy world of social media. Well, I'm still trying to figure out Snapchat. They've moved on past that and then some. So
TikTok, and then
Yes.
I mentioned something to my 20-year-old about Twitch. Okay, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what Twitch was. Okay, it's an online platform similar to YouTube that gamers use. And my son looked at me and he goes, "Mom, I've been using Twitch since I was 12." And I was like, "Oh boy, where was I? Was I not watching very closely what you were doing on the computer?"
That's okay. We won't tell anyone. Well, we so thank you for taking time out of your schedule to share the latest updates with the Chamber with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. The Chamber, people such as yourself and your team members, you've been a lifeline for so many of these businesses during this pandemic. I know it is greatly appreciated for the businesses and the small business owners, and let's just hope this comes to an end sooner rather than later, and more businesses are able to survive. So thank you so much for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. We so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
That is pretty much just going to about wrap it up here for us on the Oakland County Megacast. The chamber, though, I will say, Tyler, they're doing amazing things for so many businesses, just trying to navigate the government loans and the grants and the programs. They've helped so many get through this, but I am really worried about so many of the businesses if we go into another shutdown.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for them, and so building those relationships, getting prepared, talking with local chambers and other businesses in the community, it's going to be critical for them as we potentially head into a second wave of this virus.
Well, everyone stay safe, stay healthy. We'll be back tomorrow on the Oakland County Megacast.